Good morning, Golden K.
Good morning.
We've got a big agenda today. Going to start off with Ron Black with God Bless America, the Pledge of Allegiance, and the Kiwanis Pledge. And we'll have John Baird on piano, and we'll have Ralph Czerwinski then introduce our speaker.
Let's sing it from the heart, shall we? God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans, white with gold. God bless America, my home sweet home. God bless America, my home sweet home. And the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And then our Kiwanis pledge. As our country's flag signifies purity, valor, and justice, may we as true Kiwanis exemplify these virtues as we serve the children of the world. Please remain standing.
Shall we pray? Heavenly Father, we thank you for your guidance and for giving us the strength so that we may serve the children in our community. Help us to understand that it is only by serving others in your name that we find love, kindness, and compassion. We ask you to watch over all of our members, provide healing for those who are sick and unable to be here today. With grateful hearts, we ask you to bless everyone in this room. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Good morning, Golden K. Having spent 30 years teaching and administrating at Millikan University, it gives me great pleasure this morning to introduce the new president, Dr. Dean Pribbenow, who joined us on July 1st in 2025. With over 20 years of experience in higher education leadership, President Pribbenow brings a deep commitment to private, student-centered learning and the importance of community engagement. He comes to Millikan from Elmhurst University, where he served as Vice President for Academic Affairs and Dean of the Faculty from 2020 to 2025. His work there enhanced student success, strengthened the institution's financial sustainability, and expanded their academic program. While Elmhurst is a rival of Millikan and the CCIW, we're confident that Dr. Pribbenow is not going to be a Big Blue fan. I've had the privilege to meet President Pribbenow in the past several months and can attest that he's enthusiastic about Millikan's future and looks forward to continuing to focus on the 4 P's: people, presence, purpose, and partnerships, so that Millikan is not only in, but truly of the community. Some of us have already witnessed his desire to be part of the community. Each year, Golden K Kiwanis partnerships with Millikan University to put on the children's play. One of the first things that President Pribbenow did, he and his wife, Dr. Chris Mickelson, did when they came to visit last spring was to attend the children's play. So he's got to be a winner. Please join me in welcoming President Dean Pribbenow.
Well, I don't know, I dropped all my notes as soon as I stood up here, so I might be winging this, actually. Well, I'm delighted to be here, and if there was any question about my loyalty, I'll tell you just a real short story, is when I was elected president and notified by the board chair on March 1st, and we had worked through all the details. One of the first things my wife and I did was to put many of the events on our calendar, sporting events and plays and different kinds of performances. And she started doing that, and then she stopped and she said, "Dean, you're not going to believe this." And I said, "What?" And she said, "Well, Millikan has a new football coach." And I was like, "Yeah, I know that. That's great." And she said, "Well, the season opener for Millikan's football team is at Luther College." And I'm a graduate of Luther College, and I played football at Luther College. And so you can imagine the fanfare and the hype around traveling to Decatur, Iowa on September 5th or 6th, I think it was, for our team to play. Luther, we came out victorious, I think, as we all know. When I say we, I mean Millikan. But if there was ever sort of a tempting of where my allegiances lie, I do love my alma mater, but I'm big blue through and through. So I am delighted to be here. I did spend the last 5.5 years at Elmhurst University in Elmhurst, Illinois, a fine institution. But you mentioned, Ralph, that I started in 2020. I did, but my first day at Elmhurst was March 12th of 2020. That date ring a bell for anybody, or March 13th ring a bell for anybody, right? Yeah, so my first day in that role on that campus, I arrived, we had board meetings that day. In the afternoon, I had to send an email to all the faculty saying, I'm Dean Pribbenow, I'm your new vice president, I'm delighted to be here, and I need you all to leave campus. And because we were going to shut down, of course, what we thought was going to be for just a couple weeks at that point. I was in the role for almost 18 months before I stood fully in person in front of the full faculty and greeted them. And so all of that is to say, any chance I have to get in front of people and talk about the things I feel most passionate about, I say yes all the time, because I did have that experience of not being able to be connected with the things that I care deeply about. So I guess I'm in control here. So there we go. So I would like to just talk a little bit and introduce you. I think all good relationships and partnerships start with getting to know who people are on a personal and human level. So this is a picture of my wife and me that was taken early on in our time here. So I'm from Wisconsin. Don't hold that against me. I'm a Bucks and a Badgers and a Brewers and a Packer fan, kind of through and through. That's where I was born. I spent about 8 years growing up in rural Iowa, but then came back to Wisconsin before coming to Elmhurst 5.5, 6 years ago. And my father's a Lutheran minister, so that makes me a PK, pastor's kid, for those of you who might know what that reference is. And I'm one of 5 kids, and so I have 3 older siblings and 2 younger siblings. I was the baby of the family for 7 years until my younger brother and sister came along, who are twins, and then they got all the attention. And it was tough going from being the youngest to then becoming basically a middle child, and that never hit home until that one Christmas holiday picture card that my dad, after my mother passed away, my father continued to send out Christmas cards, and we'd gotten together as a family and taken a picture, and in the summer prior to that Christmas, and he sent out this card to all of his, probably 50 to 100 of his friends and relatives, And this card arrived at my sister's house before it arrived at mine in the mail, and she called me and she's like, Dean, have you seen Dad's Christmas card? And I said, no, I haven't. And she said, take a close look. So I got it the next day, I looked at it, I held it up, and I wasn't in the picture. So if you've ever had this experience of sending a picture to Walgreens, for example, and saying, put this in the card, sometimes they end up trimming that picture a little bit. Well, it just so happened I was standing on the end of that of the stretch of family, and was cut out of that picture that year, and my siblings never let me forget it. And so anyways, all of that is to say, I had a wonderful upbringing with loving parents, and that upbringing with my father's a minister, and the notion of service and care for community is really woven into my ethic, into the way I see the world, the way I think about relationships, the way I see, and particularly I think about the purpose of higher education. And so, so you see a picture of my wife, Chris, up there. Chris is a tenured full professor at Morningside University in Sioux City, Iowa. And so you might say, well, how does she do that? Well, she is actually the very first fully remote faculty position that institution hired. She teaches in a graduate program in education. She teaches current teachers who are earning master's degrees, and their program is fully online and asynchronous. And she loves it. It works great for our lifestyle. She can be wherever I am, and continue to fulfill her role as a teacher. And so I think some people in this room have had a chance to meet her. I have been told that she's the one who sealed the deal on my presidency. That I was okay, but when they met Chris, then that was it. And I can remember, I think maybe even Lori was part of this, when I was checking in prior to my arrival. I had some meetings, and they would always say, well, how's Chris doing though? Or, are you coming down here? Is Chris coming too? And I'm like, yes, she's coming. And so she is here. She has been very involved she's been in this room actually more than I have, because I think this is where the WSOY planning group maybe had met for their meetings. And she was, right away got involved in that effort, and it gave her a chance to meet many of the folks in the community and really get a sense of what the community is all about. And of course, our family is not complete without Marlin, our Tibetan Terrier there. We have replaced that red tie with a blue Milliken bandana now, so you can look to that. But one of the things that as I sort of roll out of the introduction, talk a little bit about a few more substantive things, is this sense of belonging. We talk a lot about belonging on our college campuses, the importance of creating connections for our students when they arrive, to making sure that they feel like they belong and that they have a place and that they matter. We talk a lot about that. Well, that's also important for presidents and for faculty and staff, is that creating that sense of belonging. And I will say that people say, what has most surprised you since you arrived here? The warmth and the connection, the hospitality, the greeting that has come from the Decatur and the broader community has overwhelmed us. People have been so friendly, so willing to show up and greet and offer support and resources along the way. And so all of you probably know that already and have experienced that in various ways. But in short order, Chris and I have felt that from the get-go, and that has been very, very meaningful to us. So I want to start off by talking about the things that matter most to us on our campuses, which are students. We get a lot of questions about what's the incoming class look like, and so I do have just a few slides. Many of you have probably seen the headlines on our incoming class. We enrolled the largest, and actually this one is just a little shy. I believe it was 546 new students is what we enrolled in Milliken this fall. That is the largest incoming class of new students since 2019. And that total number included just shy of 400 first-year students, again, which was the largest since 2019. It also, from what we can tell, included our largest incoming class of transfer students in well over a decade, and including some students who have been re-enrolled as well. Important to note that 48% of this incoming class were student athletes. Which I believe is probably, Lori, probably one of the highest percentage of incoming students. And that gives you a little bit of a sense of where some of the emphasis is. We have, of course, the landscape of college athletics is shifting all the time, but we know that students who come to a place like Milliken One of the things we say about them is they don't have to choose this or that, they can choose this and that. So they can choose to be high quality and excellent students and student athletes and involved in music or theater. And that's one of the things that we certainly are excited about. And you maybe saw some of the headlines that we are adding 2 new sports starting in the fall of '26. We are launching women's wrestling and women's flag football. Women's flag football, if you don't know, is Lori, the fastest growing sport in Illinois or in the country? I don't even know. In Illinois, the fastest growing high school sport. And so we wanted to be as close to the front end of adding that sport on our campus because we know it's going to attract, again, both excellent students that can be successful and student athletes. It still is the case that we enroll about close to 75% of our students come from Illinois, come from the state of Illinois. And so what I love about that is, again, we are Decatur's university and we are Central Illinois' university. We're Illinois' university in some ways in terms of when we think about who we enroll, who we educate, and then certainly what happens to those students once they graduate. In addition to learning that in Decatur everybody knows everybody, and half of the people are related to one another in one way or another, well more than half of those people have some connection to Millikin. And having been at institutions where we graduate those students and then they leave and they go to other parts of the country or world, I've been amazed at the number of people in this area who have graduated and stayed, or maybe graduated, left, and come back. And it's always, yeah, I graduated from Millikin, my parents graduated from Millikin, my sister, my cousins, I met my life partner at Millikin. So that connection, to me, is a signal of strength, I think, in terms of the overall impact that we have. That said, of those remaining 25%, they come from 31 states across the country. Sorry if this is a little bit smaller print for you to read, but this gives you a sense of where it's a little bit small for me to read too, actually. So, but people often say, what high schools do you come from? Our top 15 high schools, you can see are represented there. Many in Macon County and Cook County. We got MacArthur and St. Teresa and Sullivan, Taylorville, Warrensburg, Meridian. So you can see where we're drawing a lot of those from. And then in terms of transfer institutions, we have them coming from a lot of the, certainly from some four-year institutions, larger ones like Eastern Illinois, Southern Illinois University, Edwardsville, but you can see the increase of the presence of the community college. So Lincoln Land Community College, Illinois Valley Community College, Illinois Eastern. So that represents our commitment to forging partnerships with those community colleges to say, when those students go there and they complete a 2-year associates, we want them to come to Millikin. We want them to be part of a pathway to our institution to be successful and graduate with their bachelor's from us. In terms of areas of study, you can see this has probably shifted over time. 20% of this incoming class intends to major in business. And do we have is there a retired business right there? I knew we had at least one. 11% in nursing, 9% in theater, 8% in exercise science and sport, and 4% in exploratory, which is what we use to refer to people who come in a bit undecided or have multiple interests that they want to consider. And so, again, this represents a little bit of a shift. This gives you a sense of who some of our students are. We love our students. We love their engagement. We love the ways in which they express them on campus and the inspiration that they give us all. So Rob mentioned this idea of this 4 Ps, and when I started, I sent an email to campus on July 1st, and I said, here's what you can expect from me. I'm going to use these 4 points as my guideposts, if you will. This notion of presence, of purpose, of people, and of partnership. And I said, I'm going to embrace these notions, and I'm encouraging you to do the same. I heard early on is that the campus and the community was looking for a leader who was going to be visible, was going to be present, was going to be engaged, was going to show up where they were expected to show up and be a part of things. And I heard that loud and clear. And fortunately, that's sort of how I approach my work. And so I've tried to do that, and I'm getting some at least early indication that people are appreciating the fact that I see the importance of being present. purpose. I think we need to rethink a little bit about what Milliken is being called to in the future. People certainly were paying attention to our enrollments and the ways in which we support people, and then this notion of partnerships. And I would like to just take a couple minutes to talk about these. First of all, I want to talk a little bit about people and purpose. And when people say, you know, what is most central to you? Well, our why is really our students. And just a few weeks ago, we had this, for me, I had this exquisite experience. Chris and I host at the President's House all first-year students, all maybe not quite all 393, but close to it. About over the first 5 weeks of the campus, we invite students in groups of 25 to 35 to come to the house for a meal. And they love the chicken and the potatoes, the vegetable. We get tired by about week 3 or 4 of that, but they love it. And they come and they bring their energy and they talk about what they're interested in and what they're thinking about, the music they're listening to, and they ask us questions like, what the heck does a president do anyway? And it was wonderful. So September 29th, Monday, September 29th is when we had the last of those meals. And it was great to get to know the students that way, and I think for them to see the President's House and get a chance to visit with Chris and me and see Marlon and play some yard games and everything else, it was quite fun. Well, that was also homecoming week, so we started the week with that last meeting with our students, our why, and hearing about their ideas and passions. We then entered that weekend, and on Friday night hosted our alumni awards banquet and ceremony on Friday night. It was homecoming weekend for us. And at that meeting, we got to hear more about our legacy, Millikan University's legacy. Our legacy, the reason that we exist, is to educate those students so that they go out then and make an impact in their workplace and in the communities in which they live. And we got a chance to hear about that when we featured some of our alumni who were receiving these awards. And they talked about the faculty members and their relationships that they had and the mentoring they received. And they talked about performance learning, this commitment we have to give students as many opportunities as possible to apply what they're learning in the classroom in real world settings. And they talked about their friends, and they talked about being part of an athletic team and part of a fraternity and a sorority and part of a theater group. And for me, I feel like I couldn't have asked for a better week to start with the new students arrive with all this energy and the whole future is ahead of them, and then to end the week with our alum who had such amazing things to say about their experience and the impact that their time at the university had on us. And I just love that. I feel like things have come full circle for us. And I think it causes us to continually to reflect on our purpose. How does what Millikan focused on 10, 20 years ago, how does that need to change moving forward? And for me, I frame this in terms of vocation and calling. So what are we being called to as a university? And I think we need to rethink that. I've used a phrase on campus called being student ready. And there was this notion in the past of, you know what, college and universities, we had our expectations, we were fixed, and students were either going to be college ready or they weren't. And so it was completely up to them to meet every expectation, and they had to do it on their own, and if they couldn't, well, then maybe they weren't meant to be here. And I think I've asked us to kind of flip that notion on its head a little bit and to say, not what do students need to do to be college ready, but what do universities need to do to be student ready? And I think my point on that is the demographics of who's coming to college has changed. And one of the more significant ones that we're noticing is first generation. Almost 35% of the incoming class of new students this fall are first generation. They've not had anybody in their family go to college. And so you think about, I mean, I'm not a first generation student. My father went to college, my older siblings went to college. So when it came time for me, I had people in my family who could say, Dean, make sure you do this. You know what? Go visit your faculty members. They're going to have office hours. They want you to come visit them. You know what? Make sure you study, but make sure you do these other things too. We have, with these first generation students, they're coming and sometimes they don't have that full understanding of, oh, you mean I can go talk to my faculty member during their office hours? Or, oh, you mean there is this thing over here called a math lab that can help me understand how to do better in math? And so those are just a couple small examples. I think part of our calling is to be more student ready, especially when we think about the first generation students that we need to educate. Over the last number of years, we've hovered right around 80 to 100 graduate students. I believe for us to continue to exist well moving forward, we need to think more about our graduate programs and the ones that we offer. And those are going to be primarily in the areas of our professional offerings. We do need to expand our offering in health sciences, particularly in our nursing program. We did add recently a master's in athletic training that will soon be accredited, and we believe that we're going to have great potential for enrolling more students in that area. I think our School of Education also needs to explore a few more graduate program opportunities. And we're poised to do some of that. Institutions like Millikan that have our profile and our quality, our reputation of academic offerings are poised to do that pretty well. And then I already mentioned our transfer students. I think that's going to become an increasingly popular pathway for us. And we have forged articulation agreements with many, many of these institutions. We spent, about 10 of us spent a day down at Robinson, Illinois, I believe, the Illinois Eastern Community College. Down there, they have 4 campuses. They are eager to partner with us and start to send some of their students to us after they completed their associate's degrees. And so we're really excited about what that can mean for us. The next thing that I just wanted to talk about is this notion of partnerships and presence. It's already mentioned this notion of being present and showing up, and so I've talked a lot about this notion of making sure that people feel like they matter. That's the thing that I've sort of most committed to this. And early on, Lori shared a screenshot, and I've not asked her to share with me who sent that a screenshot of a text to her, but she shared early on somebody who sent that. A text to Lori that said, for the first time in quite a while, I feel like everyone matters again. And for me, that signaled a campus that was maybe feeling a little bit hurt, that had a little bit of a tumultuous year last year that they were working through. And to me, one of the greatest compliments you can get as a person is to get feedback that you are helping other people to feel like they matter. Because they do matter. Our faculty and our staff matter deeply, and certainly our students matter. It's what we're trying to create on our campus, is a sense of that everyone else matters, and of course, I believe that not only do they matter, but Millikan matters. Others have heard me say that as Decatur goes, so goes Millikan, and as Millikan goes, so goes Decatur. This relationship that we as a university have with this community is profound. And I think about this in this notion of being an anchor institution. Some of you familiar with colleges and universities will sometimes hear them described as ivory towers. This notion is that colleges and universities are set off from communities, and it's hard for people to access them or understand what they're all about. The flip of that, I believe, is that you are an anchor institution. You have grounding and rootedness in a community, and your boundaries are permeable. And that is indeed how we believe we are. We want people on our campus as much as possible. We want people to see Millikan University as their university and have access to our resources. And conversely, we want the community to see us as not being just in the community, but of the community. And when you're of the community, it means you show up. You show up, you participate, you care deeply about what's going on in the community, and you demonstrate that by investing your time and energy and commitment to doing that. And early on, we have a few examples of that. I challenged the community early on to be full participants in the WSOY food drive. I believe this is, if not it's the top single day community food drive in the country. And we set I thought, a reasonable goal of 5,000 pounds or dollars. I'm happy to say that we reached 8,000 pounds and dollars as our commitment. So we well more than passed that goal. An important goal. I think more important, though, is I saw the campus community come together. We had students up at 7 o'clock on a Wednesday morning, waiting out in front of the University Commons, taking food out of people's cars as they were driving through and picking it up. We had parents of some of our student athletes challenging other parents that when they came to an athletic event, bringing food and dropping it off. We had our marketing department challenging our advancement department to bring in resources and donate money. And it was just a wonderful, cohesive moment on campus to come together and know that together we can make a difference in the community. I think the only thing that maybe surpassed our goal of $5,000 to $8,000 was the fact that at 6 o'clock on Friday morning, October 3rd, we had students out in the Kroger parking lot at 6 a.m. on Friday morning after a Thursday night. All the cheerleaders were all dressed up, and we had student athletes, student leaders all there helping to deliver the food. And so that may have been my greatest accomplishment so far as the president, is getting those students there at 6 a.m. on a Friday morning. So. We also are at the table. We had Darren Reynolds and Larry Osborne, two of our trustees, who wanted to restart the Milliken Decatur Executive Association, and so they invited us to be at the table for that. Julian Shields, who heads up our Center for Entrepreneurship, has really reignited that group. We had a wonderful meeting last month. We have another one coming up on cybersecurity and quantum computing. We are forging deeper connections with our community colleges. We are exploring the potential of bringing a Prospect League baseball team to town that will be using our ball diamond and things to, we think that is going to be a wonderful contribution. And we have been actively meeting with the city to talk about neighborhood revitalization and small business revitalization, particularly in the Oakwood area. And so these are just just some examples, and we can think of many more of the ways we are trying to show up and be not just in but of the community. One that I'm really excited about, and I want to ask Lori to talk a little bit about, is a deep partnership with a number of folks, but primarily with the Northeast Community Fund. And that is the launching of what we're calling the Milliken Market, which is a food pantry on our campus. And so, Lori, I'd like you to come up and just maybe talk a little bit about that, because it's very, very timely. And she will be sharing some ideas about how you can all help support that.
Good morning, folks. Nice to see you all. So Dean is pretty humble and modest. Let me just get a show of hands. Who either graduated from Milliken or had someone in your family graduate from Milliken? Raise your hands. Okay, now here's my fun question. Who in the room has either in your business hired a graduate, supervised a student teacher, volunteered at Milliken, been to Vespers? Who's been involved in Milliken in some way? Raise your hands. Yeah, every person in this room. This is why this is my favorite group to come to. I look out here and I see so many faces, and I won't embarrass anybody like Donna Dash or Mrs. Rayhill. I won't do that to anybody, but I am just so grateful for the partnership that we have with this, that Milliken has with this community. As you know, I recently moved back over into athletics. Previously, I think I came here last year and spoke about recruiting Macon County, recruiting some of your grandsons and granddaughters and former students. But now I'm back in athletics, and I want to share just a super quick story and then ask for your help. Let me ask one more question. Who is either a parent, grandparent, or great-grandparent? Raise your hand. Okay. When I tell this story, I want you to picture your favorite grandchild, not the one you don't like so much some days, but your favorite one, okay? So I moved from the enrollment office to the athletic office on the 4th of July weekend. And like many of you who have moved offices, I like to do it on the weekends and at night, so when people come into your office, it's already all set up and you don't have a bunch of boxes sitting around. So it was about 7 o'clock on July the 5th. I'll never forget the date or the time. I heard the front door of the athletic building, which is right there across from Schilling on the south side of West Main Street, open, and I thought, oh gosh, somebody's coming to see me. And I went out to the lobby, and there were two students. I'm going to guess maybe 19 or 20 years old. And they were kind of scrummaging through a set of cabinets we have at the entrance. Kind of like, again, when your grandchildren come to your house, they're trying to figure out what's in there. And I said, good morning, gentlemen, how can I help you? And they said, Coach, we're so sorry to bother you. Do you have any food? And because what the shelves they were looking at is where we often put leftover foods coming back from athletic events or long road trips, or some people would just donate some things to us and we would put them out on this credenza. And I said, gosh, it's 4th of July weekend, I'm sorry we don't have anything. And they looked at me in the eye and they said, nothing? You've got nothing? And I said, well, I've got my lunch. And they said, what do you have? And I went into my little fridge and I pulled out my little Kroger bag, right, the little plastic ones, and I had, like most of you, cottage cheese, because I was probably on a Monday morning diet at that point. Cottage cheese, carrots, yogurt, and they stuck their heads in the sack Together, they grabbed the sacks, looked at me with big eyes, said thank you, and ran down the hallway out the back door. What does that story say to you? They were hungry. They feel comfortable and they were hungry. Those kids were genuinely, at that moment, food insecure. It was summer, the cafe's not open, teams weren't traveling, I had no food. That moment, July 5th at 7 o'clock in the morning, that moment, it was like a lightning bolt, a higher power, a message. Lord, you gotta figure out something. I had no idea what we were gonna do. But the result is we have now soon, Friday, we will cut the ribbon to our brand new Milliken Market on campus. And here's the amazing partnership I want to share. For anybody who knows Angel Lawrence and Northeast Community Fund and Sharon Bunch, I didn't know how we were going to fill the shelves, stock the shelves. And so I went and asked them for advice. I toured the Northeast Community Fund. I watched them be open on a day. And I thought, how am I ever going to replicate this? And they called me to come back. I took Dean, I took some of his cabinet, and they said, we have a favor to ask. And we were like, oh, they're gonna ask us to bring our students and come and volunteer and, to give to this wonderful organization. And they said, if we provide the food, would you consider opening a market? And we looked at each other and we didn't ask any questions and we said yes, because that's what we were called to do. So what I'm here to tell you today is on Tuesdays and Fridays, on the Milliken campus, we will have a market open. And how timely is this? Because those of you who are watching the news know that SNAP benefits will end, at least temporarily, on November 1st. 41% of college students identify as food insecure. Nationally, 41%. And that's a pretty conservative number. So what we are doing is on Tuesdays and Fridays, students can come through, employees can come through. And they show their Milliken ID and they enter our market and they will be greeted by the most glorious volunteers you've ever seen in your life. They're adult volunteers. Most of them are former teachers, former principals, former business owners. And they'll say, well, hello, John, welcome. What can we do for you today? We give them a bag and we allow them to shop the market. No cost to them, no judgment on them, and they walk out the door, at least for the next couple of days, with food in their pantry and in their fridge. So what I'm here today is to offer you the opportunity. It's not like Golden K doesn't volunteer in this community. I get it. You may be tapped out. But if anyone enjoys and or misses interacting with students, interacting with college students who are going to go out and be a president someday, or be a principal someday, or be a business owner, or a counselor, or go out and do great things in the world, just spend 10 minutes on our campus interacting with a student, and it'll change your life. So, if you would like to volunteer in our market, you don't have to count anything, you don't have to computer anything, you just have to smile. Every once in a while they need a hug. Most of the time they say, how do I cook this chicken breast? Or what do I do with this legume, right? Give them a little advice. I welcome you. And so I've got some cards, I'll stick them around. If my email is on there, my cell phone is on there. Our first full day of being open will be Tuesday, November 4th. If you would like to come and be a part of that, we're gonna be open during breaks and holidays because hunger doesn't ever take a day off. We're going to be open in the summers because our students sometimes find it better and safer to stay on campus than to go back home where they came to us from. Ladies and gentlemen, because of you, we are going to make a difference. So if you would like to help us out, an hour a week, 2 hours a month, whatever your schedule allows, come on, I welcome you. I'll give you a nice vest like you're a Walmart greeter and you'll have a great time, I promise. Thanks very much for having us. Appreciate you.
That seems like a wonderful note to end on and answer any questions that you might have. I do want to, I'm not sure I've met anybody who is more modest than Lori Kerans, and from the get-go, she has made me feel welcome. I know that so much of what I'm able to do in this role is because of her. She didn't complete her title. She is Vice President for Athletics, but she's Vice President for Athletics and Community Engagement because of the unique skills that she has. and the impact that she has had on this community and on the campus and on the lives of so many students. This is a passion project for her. This market would not be happening without Lori's leadership, and so I want to make sure that this group fully understands that her fingerprints are all over this. And I knew as soon as she said that she wanted to make this happen, that it was going to happen. As Lori doesn't commit to something without seeing it through. So I'm delighted for that. And please do find an opportunity to volunteer. Let others know about the volunteer opportunities. I think it's just a wonderful way to give back and to support our students who are facing some challenges. So Rob, we're happy to take any kind of questions that people might have. Oh, great.
This question's for Lori.
Yeah, great.
The athletics at Millikan, is there an opportunity for members to volunteer at any one of your sports things and so on?
Ask Charles Smith. He was a ticket taker for me at a football game. We do. We have lots of opportunities. I also run a study table on Sunday and Tuesday nights for student athletes and students that, again, you're welcome to come and be a part of if you wish. So if you email me or call me and say, tell me about your volunteer opportunities, we've got lots. I'm really trying to, again, support Dean and the vision to partner with the right people. And again, as I look around these tables, there's no more right people than the people in the room. So yeah, I'll put you to work for free for sure. Yeah.
I have a question for the president. Should you be asked by a president in the Southern Illinois Community College how they might best prepare a student for Millikan?
So, I mean, our community colleges do amazing work with our students. I feel like they're the kinds of education, the kind of access that they provide to students at that level is amazing. I think one of the best things a president could do is to reach out to some of the four-year institutions like Millikan and say, here's what our students are really interested in and the things that they're passionate about. Help us develop pathways for those students so that they understand when they start their first year at that community college that if they take these set of courses, they're going to have a seamless transition to Millikan, and we're going to welcome them with open arms and help them be successful in whatever field that they're interested in. And so for me, I've always been, sometimes I've experienced that there's competition. People experience competition between large schools and small schools and four-year schools and two-year schools. And I've always been of the mindset, there's room in this landscape for all of us, and we all play an important role. And if we put at the center of that our students and say, what are their needs and what can we best do to help them be successful in completing their degree, then the notion of competition isn't there. So I would say, know who your students are, know what their interests are, and then help to forge those connections with institutions like Millikan, which is what's happening down in Illinois Eastern. Is Tana Ambrose, one of the presidents of those campuses, is married to a Millikan alum. There's a lovely connection there, and she's like, we need connections there. We have student athletes on our two-year campuses who I know would love to come to Millikan and play for a couple more years on one of your athletic teams, and they're really good students. What can we do to make that happen? So to me, it's everybody. Sometimes people think you need these very sophisticated technological platforms to make all this. No, you need real people reaching out and making real connections and coming together face to face to say, what can we do to support the students?
Dean and Lori, thanks so much for your presentation this morning, and thanks to Millikan for everything you do for Decatur. Although I'm not a Millikan graduate in my 40 plus years here in Decatur, I've really leaned on Millikan a lot. In business, I worked with Ed Walker for a number of years. I had an intern every year for over 20 years in the graphic arts, and they were just great students. It was good to get to meet them, and they did a lot of good work for me. You mentioned the MDEA program. I've been in that for close to 20 years, and I do appreciate that you're getting that started back up again. That's going to be really good. Recently, I was involved in the Shoreline 5K and 15K race, And I reached out to Andrew Craycraft, the track and cross-country coach, and he got us 25 volunteers. So thank you very much for that. That was a big help. And as a proud Mantoon High School graduate, I'm always excited when I see R.J. Podesky, who's the dean of the Tabor School of Business. He's a Mantoon graduate, and so very proud of him too. So thank you for everything.
Wow, well, thank you for those comments. That's just evidence right there. Get you up here talking about us, so that's great. Thank you for sharing. John, did you have a question? I saw your hand up before.
John, you're
I
good.
was just gonna ask,
Oh, John.
what happened to the liberal arts majors?
Well, you know, this is a national challenge, right? I'm an English major, and I taught high school English for 3 years before sort of coming back into the higher ed setting. It's just next week I'm giving a talk to another group on the civic purposes of higher education, too often, I think, when people think about colleges and universities now, they think of economic development, careers, high pay and salary, all of which, don't get me wrong, those are important. But the foundation of colleges and universities was to prepare citizens for engaged and informed citizenry in a democracy. And sometimes that really important role, some might argue the most important role, gets overlooked. It has long been my belief that we're not preparing students for their next career. We're not telling them what to think. We're helping them to learn how to think and make up their own minds. We're not preparing them for their next career. We're preparing them for careers 2, 5, 10, 20 years from now. We have students in high school right now who will, when they graduate from college, be entering jobs and careers that don't even exist right now. And so this notion that we can be sort of rigid with that is a challenge. I firmly believe in the liberal arts. We know students vote with their feet, and if they are not declaring majors in certain areas, that's always a challenge. But we will always be offering liberal arts courses and offerings and degrees, because in my mind, that's foundational. We prepare better business people because they have a foundation in the liberal arts. We prepare more passionate and informed nurses because they have a foundation in our general education in the liberal arts. We prepare better teachers because they have that foundation. And so I will always be a champion of that area, even if students aren't voting that way with their feet in terms of their majors. It's still a critical part of our general education that we offer. So all of our graduates will have that. Great, thank you so much.
We have a certificate of appreciation for both President Pribbenow and for Lori Kerans, who's the Vice President of Athletics and Community Engagement.
Thank you, Dr. Czerwinski. Appreciate you.
And we also have a pin for each of you. We know that in education there's always something to sign. And so when you look at this, we hope you'll think of Golden Gate Mall.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you again.
Okay, I think Kathy Seebach has a special award.
At this time, I'd like to make a special presentation, and this individual has donated over 2,000 service hours through Golden K, and I more think of him as more like Mr. Children's Theater. And that's what I've always thought of you. On behalf of Golden K, I would like to award Ralph Czerwinski Service Award. Over to you. And this is for serving over 2,000 hours. Thank you, Ralph.
Okay, I'll turn over to Vic Clergy.
Tom, did you notice how quickly Bob Lewis got the answer on the new word quiz last week?
Yeah, it's almost like he knew what the word meant.
Well, I was thinking about that later. It had me wondering about how he knew what the word meant.
Yeah, I was thinking about, or what were you thinking about, how he knew that word?
Well, the word jobfusticate means someone who puts in a lot of effort to making their job look complex and to confuse their bosses and co-workers, make them think that they're doing all kinds of stuff when in reality they're doing nothing. Made me wonder if he knew what the word meant, because he used to jobfusticate when he was working. I don't know, what do you think about that?
Well, that's certainly a good explanation. He really came up with the answer awfully quick, and nobody else had their hand up.
Yeah. And I don't recall him jumping up like that for Hygiena Evangelist. It's probably one of those oddities of life that we'll never know about, since we didn't have anybody who worked with him to know whether he jobfusticated or not.
45 years.
Okay. All right. So let's get on to this week's word. All right. This week's word is confrazzled. Confrazzled. Any takers on that? Kevin?
Speak with my voice, okay. It's when we all get frazzled together.
All right, that's good. Anybody else? Well, it's the state of being simultaneously confused and also at the same time at your wit's end. So, Kevin, come on up and take a prize out of the prize box here. Okay. All right. Okay. Linda, you have the attendance for today?
Yes, we have 55 members present with 2 guest speakers for a total of 57.
Okay, very good. Okay, Kathy Seebach, I think you've got the health report?
Please keep several of our members in your prayers, and if you can, touch base with them or send cards. Kathy Ferguson, she fell in August, and she is recuperating at home, but she would appreciate cards. Al Henricks, he would love to be able to come back to the meeting, so just maybe touch base with him and find out when a good time might be. Betsy Harold, we've not seen her for a while, but if you have a chance to make touch with her, that would be great. It's nice to see Kathy Thompson back after having surgery, and hope that she gets along well and starts feeling better. Please keep Marcia Uptorf and her family in your prayers. Bill Meyer had knee surgery, and he's with the Early Birds. Thank you very much.
Okay, good. All right. Birthdays and anniversaries with Kevin Cleary.
Birthdays and anniversaries from 11/2 to 11/8. Can't believe it's November already. Birthdays, we have one on the 5th, Dennis Noonan. He'll be 89. Let's sing. We have one anniversary on the 8th. Joe and Marilyn Caputo. It'll be 40 years. Let's sing.
Happy anniversary to you. Happy anniversary to you. Happy anniversary, God bless you. Happy anniversary to you.
And how about a little quote from Bob Oden? No one can fool all the people all the time. That's why we have two parties.
We asked this morning if you fill out the little half-sheet slip of information. If you've got yours done, hold it up and it'll get picked up. And if you didn't get one, raise your hand, and we'll see that you get one. We're going to use these to periodically pull one out and share the information and see if you can figure out who the person is. So that's what it's about. It's not being sent to the CIA or anybody. All right, announcements about various things. Charles Smith, I think you're on docket first.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. I have two announcements. One, on November 5th, they're having a mega club meeting for the divisions 25 and 26 in Champaign. It's for the Kiwanis Neuroscience Research Foundation. If you haven't been to a presentation on our research foundation, I strongly urge you to go. It's the best thing this district does outside of Key Club. So please go. I will email out the exact time. I don't have the exact time at the moment. They're asking for a $10 donation per person at the door, and the money will go to the Kiwanis Neuroscience Research Foundation. The other announcement is, on the next day, November 6th, we're trying to get an inter-club with the Champaign Club. So if you're interested and able to go, there's a sign-up sheet on the table. Please sign up. The meeting's at 11:30. It will be at the Holiday Inn in Champaign, and we can get a carpool to go. Thank you.
Charles, is that KNRF at the Holiday Inn?
I'm sorry?
Is the KNRF meeting at the Holiday Inn?
Yes, same place.
Okay, Dan?
Two things. This Sunday at 6 o'clock at St. Teresa will be a Key Club meeting in the all-purpose room. The second thing is it's basketball time. I got Cherry Mania tickets again, and believe it or not, I've sold 20% already out of 100. So if anybody wants one, come and see me.
All right. Susan Rahal.
Good morning. Yesterday at Good Samaritan Inn, we had 9 volunteers working, and it seemed like that was a lot of people, but we served a lot of people. We served 75 cold lunches and also made 75 turkey sandwiches for those cold lunches. And we served 177 hot lunches, so that was a total of 252 lunches. And that includes 3 children. And I also took 18 tramadol, and they snatched them up really fast. So I was happy to be able to put those out there also. So speaking of Good Samaritan Inn, since we've done October, then we know November's the next month. So the sign-up sheet is over here on the table for Good Samaritan Inn on November 25th. That's the week of Thanksgiving, but it's before Thanksgiving, so hopefully you can sign up. Thank you, Dan. And also, the Carriage House will be serving a meal for the ladies and children, the homeless ladies and children at the Carriage House on November 9th. And the entree is going to be a spaghetti and meatballs, which makes Steve happy. He figures there'll be leftovers or something. But if you're willing to help along with that meal, then there's a sign-up sheet over there for that also. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Paula?
All right, just a little updates on some of the programs. The Lids to Bench program, Paula's retired recyclers, who many are in this room, are really doing a great job. And Monday, Susan Rahill and I went down and picked up 2 benches, which will be in memory of longtime citizens in the village of Oriana, and they'll be at that little Oriana Park. We've got a couple of bird baths. So at this point, we have now reached over 10,000 pounds of lids that have not gone into the landfill. And to be exact, that's 10,438 pounds, which equals 5.219 US tons. So I just want to thank everybody who has helped with this Lids to Bench program. We are now up to 40 benches throughout our community. No, wait a minute, 50, no. Gosh, I should have written that down. So a lot of benches and a lot of bird baths. I'll catch up with you on that one later. On our trip down there, whoever rides shotgun with me, which was Susan, is also the navigator. And I will like to say that if I wasn't driving the car, I would think she was kidnapping me. We went through a lot of small little towns and got to see a little back road adventure, and it was really fun.
And I used GPS to do it.
I know. So again, thanks to everybody who helps collect the lids, clean the lids, sort the lids, bag the lids, and go with me to take the lids down to get these benches for people. A lot of them are in memory, are memorial benches. They started out a lot of schools, churches, organizations, and somehow they've transitioned into memory benches, but those seem to be kind of a lot of the special ones. The flip tab collection for the Ronald McDonald House is going very well. And I don't want to jinx this, but this year the 9/11 memorial has really not had hardly any vandalism. It's just been garbage picked up. And we did have a little spell where that lady decided that she wanted to collect some of the plants out of the pots and probably take them home to put them in her pots. But other than that, knock on wood, we haven't had any serious vandalism to the 9/11 memorial. Thank you very much.
Okay, Mary Jean?
Our Christmas social this year will be on Wednesday, December the 10th at 2 p.m. at the Wagon. Dinner will be $20 per person. Spouses and guests are welcome. And we will once again have our gift exchange. We asked to put a limit of $10 on each one. So I think the people that participated last year had a lot of fun with it. It's a little bit different than some gift exchanges. I won't be here next week. I'll start taking reservations in 2 weeks, which are on November the 12th. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And Jack McCoy? No? Yeah, that was covered earlier with, yeah, all right. Okay. All right. I think, Tom, yours?
Okay, thank you. Well, Jack. Okay. Got an announcement here from Rob.
Speaking of the children's play, we just got word this week from Denise Meyer that there will in fact be another children's play, and she will be directing, and it will be in the Virginia Rogers Theater on campus, which is fairly new, so many of you who've been on Milliken, like to go to Milliken events, may not have had a chance to go to the Virginia Rogers Theater yet. It's a great experience. It's sort of 3/4 in the round kind of experience. So the play will be on March 28th and 29th. I don't have the exact times at this point. And Denise doesn't know whether she will have the students create it themselves or if they will use a copyrighted play. But anyway, really happy about this. One more year of Denise at least. hopefully many more after that. So we're looking forward to that.
Yeah, that's really good news, Ralph. Thank you. I have just two announcements of some thank you notes that I received. One of them is from Operation Enduring Support. We made a donation of $300, and let me read that. It says, Golden K, thank you so much for your generous donation of Operation Enduring Support. We are very appreciative and will use it to offset postage and also purchase items we are short of for the care packages. This is handwritten, so we are grateful for you for all the what you do and to help in all the organizations in our community. Thank you and God bless, and it's from Diane Shaw. The other one is from Crossings Healthcare. The mission of Crossings Healthcare is to provide excellent, comprehensive health care that is affordable and readily accessible for the mentally underserved. The provision of dental services is paramount to this goal. On behalf of Crossings Healthcare and our patients, I would like to express sincere appreciation for Golden K Kiwanis for your generous donation of $5,000. And that's signed by Julie Briley, who's the interim CEO. We are now we're now ready for our 50-50.
Today we received $80 in ticket sales and donations. So $40 went to admin, $40 to the pot, which brings the pot to $75. And the last four numbers today are 8371. 8371.
Okay, no winner this week. We'll move on to Happy Jug. Mark Avery down here is happy.
Have a donation. I want to thank, I was a proud member of Golden K yesterday at the Good Samaritan Inn. And there's a picture of all of us. We have the best hairnets in town. We had a lot of fun and good to work with everybody and good fellowship.
I'm putting in $1 for the number of cards that I've received from my Golden K family. My sons, all three of them, none of whom live here, pitched in when their mother went down and came back as an erector set. And I'm very grateful for them, but I'm also grateful for my community in Decatur, and they are grateful also for my community in Decatur, so thank you.
I'm putting $1 in. We have a granddaughter staying with us this week who happens to be sick. And now my wife has gotten a sinus infection, so she's sick, and I'm happy to be here.
I want to report a special award to me. And I'll tell you why I want to tell about it. It serves for John Dunn for 2,000 hours of volunteering. And the reason I wanted to comment, most of the people have never seen me do volunteer for anything, but there was a time I was younger and I did my job. So, thank you.
I want to put a few dollars in the jug here. I have all kinds of things to be grateful for today. I really appreciate the service award. It's quite a surprise. And of course, I was really happy to have Lori and Dean here today and the connection with Milliken.
Well, as a new member, as I come in, I don't know exactly where I should sit. So I look around the room, and as I look around today, I see it's mostly tables of men and ladies. Except, we've got one brave lady right here, and we've got three brave men over there. They've got their armor on because they're sitting with the ladies. Thank you.
This is $1 for Bob Lewis and a good sense of humor.
Okay, one back here.
My little donation today is actually to thank all of you, because when we had our talk today and the president, our new president at Milliken, mentioned how warm the community is, and I moved here as a total stranger after I was married, and we came to Decatur. Both of us were strangers here over 50 years ago, and it is the warmest town, warmest place I've ever gone to, and that includes all of you. So thank you for just being you.
I've got $1 in there for winning this wonderful prize. And, yeah, I don't know. It's Halloween coming up.
You might be talked about next week. We'll see. Okay, who else? Okay, I guess everybody's happy. We'll turn it over to our storyteller, Charles Smith.
Good morning. There was this couple that needed a weekend away, so they were trying to find a place for their 4-year-old son. And her sister and her husband decided that it would be okay if he came and spent the weekend with them. So the little 4-year-old boy goes to his aunt and his uncle's. Now, the mother warned his aunt and uncle that this kid is all boy. He's very active. And sometimes he might say things that are not quite politically correct in polite company. Well, everything went well on Friday. Saturday, his uncle went to work and his aunt had a little social party for her book club out on her deck. Little boy went running out, "Auntie, Auntie, I need to tinkle." So his aunt took him aside and said, "We don't say things like that in public. So from now on, if you have to tinkle, just say, 'I need to whisper.'" He said, "Okay." And everything went well the rest of the day. That evening, they went to bed. Everybody's resting comfortably, and the little boy goes and jumps up on the bed of his aunt and uncle, and his uncle looks up and said, "Is anything wrong?" He said, "No." He said, "Your aunt's asleep, so come and let's be a little quiet." He said, "Okay." He said, "I just need to whisper." He said, well, let's don't wake your aunt, just whisper in my ear.
Okay, our speaker next week is Jeff Daly, and he's the Salvation Army Development Director, and his topic is the Red Kettle Christmas Kickoff. And we enjoy changing the world for the better and serving children and others. And we are adjourned.